Okay, so the software that controls the Techno is this K3D drive. It's this this icon right here. When you first start it, you want to make sure the machine's on. Probably be best if the door is closed and locked. Comes up and asks for a file. You can just hit cancel here and open the file later, or you can go open up the
Let's go
file.
down to the bottom of that.
So in this case, we were using part 1. So we can open that up. It gives us a little information about the file, about its bounding box basically, and how fast it's going to be cutting. Say OK. And we'll then go through, check communications, and then home the machine. So when we hit OK here, it will send the XYZ to all their home positions. And just say OK, it's working with tool number 1. It's the only tool we specified in this file. So a few things about the screen is down here on the lower left, we have our preview. It shows us the whole work area of the table, and it shows us the part we have, and how that part relates. If we right click on this, it will show us just the part. So you can do a backplot and verify that's the file you want to cut. Shows you rapid moves, and if you have different tools in the part, each tool will come up a different color. If you hold down the left button, you can rotate it and look at different views. Up on top here, each of these icons, the first one, so if you ever need to home the machine again, you can click on that one and then tell it which axis you want to home. So if you want to move the Z up out of the way, you can just click Z, say OK, and it will raise the Z all the way up. Second button is just turns the spindle on and off. It's a toggle switch, on, off. This one shouldn't ever use. It's to configure the tool sensor. So once that's all done, that will be done and won't need to be used. The fourth one will be to use the tool probe. So once that's configured, it will bring the tool over, touch off, so it'll learn the tool length offset from this button. And then the last one is to where you can specify offsets and positions. Probably something you won't ever need to use. Right below that are speeds. This is how fast, if we go and jog the machine right now, this is how fast it's going to be moving. So right now it's going to be moving about 47 and bring it up to 86 in the X and Y. That's how fast it's moving when we jog it. And this is the bottom one, is how fast it's going to be jogging the Z axis. So you can see, so if you're homing the machine, you can slow these way down so you can get finer detail, or if you just need to move it, get it across the table, you can go faster. Then once you get close to where you need to go, you can bring that down and go slower. You can also move it in, once you get close, you can also just move it in increments. So if you want to move it exactly 1 inch, well, it's making a liar out of me. There we go. Oh, you have to hold the button down. So if you hold the button down, it will stop at 1 inch. And you have all these other increments as well as a custom one you could type in. Drive to, if we go down to, if we have a position we know we want to go to, we can click in there, type in a position, say OK, and it will move the tool to that location. Memorize or store, we'll let you play around with those. I've probably memorizing different work offsets and more advanced things that 90% of the time you're not going to use. Okay, so once you do jog the tool to your PRZ and you need to zero it out, that's what these green buttons are for. So you can zero each axis individually, X, Y, and Z. So if you click on X, it'll ask you, are you right on X0 or are you to the left or right of it? So for example, if you jogged your tool over till it just touched the edge of your workpiece, you get to come in here and put the tool radius in there and say OK, and it will set the X0 relative to your tool. Or if you just have the tool right on 0, 0, 0, you just leave that at 0 and say OK. You can do that with Y. Z is asking, let's say you have a touch probe that you put the tool on and you know it's exactly 1 inch above your part, you could put an inch, or if the tool's just sitting right on top of the surface of your part, you just put 0. When you do zero out the Z, it automatically moves it up to about 1 inch in the Z. X, Y, Z, OK, will zero all 3 axes at once. We click on there and say OK, it zeroes all those out. So that's would be our PRZ. Down here it's showing us the absolute position of our tool. If we click on relative, it'll give us the XYZ compared to where we just zeroed it. So when we click on relative, we had just zeroed it, so that's why they're all 0, 0, 0. Also down here it's showing us the time, once we hit start machining, it'll show us how long it's been machining. And this right here is our override. So let's say we're machining and it's going too fast, you can hit the minus buttons, one to do the tens, one to do the hundreds, or the ones and the tens to slow it down. So you can go as low as 1% of your program speed or as high as probably 200% of your program speed. So if you program 50 inches per minute, you can go twice as fast. You can put that up to 200% and it'll now be going 100. Or if it's going too fast and you're afraid to break the tool, you can slow it down while it's cutting. The spindle override, we don't have a programmable spindle, so this one right here won't be used. The last thing to do is I'm just going to jog the tool somewhere to a safe location. And then just zero that out. And to start running, we just click on Start Machining. And I didn't bring it to a safe location, that's what it's telling me. So that's one of the safety features, is saying, hey, you can't machine right now, so I just have to bring the Z down even lower. And with a 0Z again, and then this time it should work. Of course, when you're programming is when it's gonna, or when you're recording is when it it's gonna. All right, let's try that. Just down here. Okay, now okay. So once you hit OK and it knows it's in a safe location, I'll come up here and say, okay, it's going to turn the spindle off, to cooling off step mode. It's just saying, is everything okay? Yep, everything's fine. Say okay. It's okay. It's going to home itself. Everything's still okay. Just being extra safe here. Click OK. It's going to reference itself and then run the program. It just says machining's completed successfully. Hit OK. Now if you had another file to run, you can just go File, Open, find the second file, which we don't have right now, and just repeat all those same steps again.
Now, if we want to machine something manually, can we just turn the spindle on?